Small Business Big Present Show. I'm your host, Madison Black, and with me is my new permanent co-host, Rory Manatunga.
That's me. Hi everyone, I'm happy to be here. What are we talking about today, Matt?
Today we're talking about why right now is the best time to be focusing on your Facebook page strategy. And we're going to be looking at two specific areas as to why right now is the best time. Firstly, we're going to be deep diving into the Facebook algorithm changes that were announced in January and what they really mean for small business Facebook pages. And then we're going to talk about why those changes are actually great for small businesses. So Rory, do you want to kick us off? We're going to go through the announcement that was made in January, bit by bit, and actually translate it into what it means for a small business owner. So Rory, do you want to read the first passage for us?
Yeah, for sure. Let's take it from the top. So the first passage is, the impact will vary from page to page, driven by factors including the type of content they produce and how people interact with it. Pages making posts that people generally don't react to or comment on could see the biggest decreases in distribution. Pages whose posts prompt conversations between friends will see less of an effect. So what does this mean, mate?
So the biggest thing that I take away from this is that they being Facebook, you to treat your customers or your followers in terms of Facebook page language as your friends. You can't be talking to them where they're constantly just being sold to. You really need to be generating conversation. Conversation and community are two words that come up consistently, not just across this announcement, but across the way Facebook talks about itself as a platform. So we really want to be making sure that everything we're doing on our page has those two words in mind, that we're generating conversations that build a community of raving fans.
So basically they're moving from like the old school marketing, what's a banner, more to like a conversation with your someone who walks into your store and has a conversation, basically.
Absolutely. It comes down to something as simple as the way you write, the language that you use in your posts. You don't want to be using language that's too highfalutin. You want to be using language that you would be using if you were having a conversation with a friend, like yourself.
Yeah, highfalutin.
Highfalutin. So the next little piece was that people who want to see posts from pages they follow can choose to see first in newsfeed preferences to make sure they always see posts from their favourite pages. Now, I must admit, if I'm completely honest, when I first read this announcement, I'd heard of the see first feature, but I have never seen a page utilise that feature. Have you?
No, I've never seen that. And where do you think that could be incorporated in, like, prompting your community to know that that functionality even exists?
Well, I think that it's not as simple as some people may think. I don't think it's just about going out and say, hey guys, everyone should just go and jump on see first on the notifications. It's not about being overt with it on your Facebook page. I'm not suggesting that you go and add one post a week where you remind people to notify themselves for your page as see first. I think you have to be a little bit more tactful. So my suggestion is, how do you incorporate this into your wider Facebook it's wider marketing strategy, really.
Yeah.
Because I think one of the best places to use this is in your email list. I actually think the people who are gonna take this action are your raving fans. They're the people who want to see you in their newsfeed first up, and because you're delivering such great content, right?
Yeah.
So I think somewhere like an email list is great. I think something like if you're running webinars, that could be a great opportunity to prompt people to go and get you to see first.
Facebook Lives.
Facebook Lives are a great one. Something that you might add to, I would probably say your outro rather than your intro.
Yeah.
But really, test it. See what works for your audience.
Yeah, totally.
And, if we're talking video, the same could be said for pre-recorded videos as well, like this show is. So, you really need to look at your wider
I'm going to stop
marketing.
you there. Click see us first.
Yes, go to the Small Business Digital Academy page and make sure you're notifying yourself of see first. Good tip there, Rory. But yeah, so I actually think that is a far underutilized feature that you could really be using for your business and your Facebook page. Roz, do you want to kick us off with the next one?
Perfect. So I seem to get the big passages doing.
It's that beautiful mellow voice of yours.
Page posts that generate conversation between people will show higher in newsfeed. For example, live videos often lead to discussion among viewers on Facebook. In fact, live videos on average get 6 times as many interactions as regular videos. Many creators who post videos on Facebook prompt discussion among their followers, as do posts from celebrities. In groups, people often interact around public content. Local businesses connect with their communities by posting relevant updates and creating events. And news can help start conversations on important issues. Using engagement bait to goad people into commenting on posts is not a meaningful interaction, and we will continue to demote these pages in the newsfeed. So, big question from that is, what exactly is engagement bait?
That's a good question, and it's actually one I needed to look into. If you go to the news article or the announcement on Facebook, it actually will take you to another article about engagement baiting and what they deem to be engagement baiting. Basically, how they determine what it is it's the kind of posts, and no doubt we've all seen them, that it's like tag a friend if you like this, or hit like if this is you. It's the kind of thing that's not really generating conversation, right?
It's like a closed-ended question, essentially.
I love that. It totally is a closed-ended question. So, and there's just other ways. The thing is, I also just think it's super lazy marketing, because if you're asking someone to say tag a friend, you kind of treating them like they're stupid.
Yeah.
And the truth is, it's stupid, and also like kind of forcing them to be more interested in it than they are.
Yeah.
Because if they were really interested, and remember again, the whole Facebook world is about community and conversations, and they're prioritizing family and friends in the newsfeed. If someone really engages with your content, they're going to share it, or they're going to comment on it and tag someone in who they think it's relevant to.
Organically. No prompts. What you want to do is inspire them to take that action for sure, but not in that sort of direct, bent over the bonnet style.
No one likes to be told what to do. Let's be honest. So let them take their own action. Now, the other thing, that was quite a big announcement. There's so much in there. So, sorry, what Rory just read it rather than the whole announcement. But one of the things they said is that live video is getting 6 times more engagement, which just indicates to me, if you have the capability in your business, and I'm going to say, I know it's not right for everyone. In fact, right now in our business, Facebook Live is not a great strategy for us. We just can't commit to an every week live strategy that's going to suit our audience. So right now we do pre-recorded video, but if you have the capability to be able to incorporate Facebook Live into your marketing strategy,
or if it works well with your industry, so for especially health industry, nutrition industry, like a couple other industries where it works particularly well, and it doesn't have to be extensively long, but it could be one of your clients, for instance, in a gym setting, hitting a PR, an amazing job as a hairdresser, on a new style.
Behind the scenes, like there are so many ways. And truthfully, we'll likely do a whole series on Facebook Live strategy down the track, so keep an eye out for that. But when it's 6 times more engaging than any other, more engaging than video, but also it's probably even more engaging than any other type of post on your page, if you can incorporate it, do it. However, I do say go in with a strategy. It's not just about jumping on and waffling, stuff that's not relevant to your audience. You really want to go on there and make sure, again, it comes back to quality posts.
Yeah, exactly. Adding value from your Facebook Live rather than just doing nothing gas bag around your facility or product.
Absolutely. Now, the next one I wanted to point out, and I'm just going to reread a sentence that Rory read, which was local businesses connect with their communities by posting relevant updates and creating events. Now, this one is so relevant to so many small businesses, especially if you're local, which a lot of you are. If you have a shop front, if you're a brick and mortar, they're going to be giving you priority if you have relevant updates that are relevant to your community. So even things like if there's, the thing that comes to mind is if there's a natural disaster or there's been a power line down, you might say, still up for business, like come in, like keeping things relevant in that way. But also the one that I'm particularly interested in is the event mention, because events as a post type, because let's be real, they are a post type. right?
Yeah, at the end of the day, yeah.
They really are. So if you have the ability to marry, and this is the thing that I love, this is what gets my juices flowing, is marrying your online content with your offline content in a way that actually brings your people in store, because that's the ultimate goal, right, for a local business.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to be seeing them in person. An event is a great way to do that. So if you have the ability to be running community-based events, they could be paid or unpaid events. Like, they don't have to be exclusively free.
Yeah.
You could be bringing people in store and using a post type on Facebook that really engages, because let's think about an event post, right? You've got people who are going to be responding if they're coming, even if they're selecting maybe or no.
They're still being inspired to take action.
It's still interaction. It's still telling Facebook, hey, this event has got interest. Even if it's not like lots of people coming, it's still people have taken enough time to say whether they can't come or if they're maybe, which really just means no.
Even a lot of yeses can mean
yes,
maybe on it. But
exactly.
Again, it's the intention is to get that engagement, to get that people to take action, and of course, the more action we can take with people away from the store is more likely to get them to take action, to come into your business and engage your services and products.
Exactly. And so just to round it off, the event post type can also, you have the ability to invite friends. I know I've done that for a recent trivia night that you and I attended. You can also be generating comments on those. So they are a really powerful post, and if you have the ability to run some events in store, they're the kind of people that are your raving fans. So definitely, if you're a local business, be thinking about that. Now, the last thing I wanted to bring up about that particular announcement on Facebook was they did make reference to the news feed, what do they call them? Newsfeed values. And I didn't know what the newsfeed values were until I had read this announcement, because the values are actually, I'm sure they've had values for as long as Facebook's been around, but they
no doubt.
most recently updated them in mid-2016. So they haven't really had a full shake-up in the values for almost 2 years. And I went and pulled out the key information that I think is most relevant to small businesses that I just want you to keep in the back of your mind when you're creating the content for your page.
And so these are the values that Facebook use to guide their algorithm basically and how the newsfeed rolls out. Is that correct?
Absolutely. It's what is creating the reason they have these values, and the reason that changes are happening is because they were feeling that what was happening in the newsfeed wasn't really abiding by those values anymore, and that was because of direct feedback that they were getting from their customer base, or from their users. People were starting to walk away from Facebook or spend less time on Facebook, and of course, for a platform that's all about community and engagement, that is not what they want to see. So they've made a shake up to change things.
Perfect.
So the first word they used was informative. So, and this is like, it feels like a duh kind of word, but it's so relevant to be informative. Don't just be coming in and putting nonsense or irrelevant or just for the sake of posting posts up on your page.
Just jumping on a viral post that's not related to your business or any value around your industry or things of that nature too.
Absolutely. The second thing they said was entertaining. And I mean, again, duh. I mean, how many hours have we spent? I mean, I'm definitely less these days, but how many hours in the past have we spent using Facebook as our form of entertainment?
Yeah.
But that's why people use it for the large, majority of the time. They're either trying to connect with friends, they're getting entertainment out of what their friends and family are doing, what pages they're following, to see a funny meme, to watch a funny video, and it doesn't even have to be funny, it's a form of entertainment.
Yeah, entertaining and informative.
Absolutely. Then we've got authentic communication. I feel like all of these are a bit duh, but I feel like authentic communication kind of comes back to what we began talking about in terms of treating your followers like friends. And, because I feel like businesses can come across very ingenuine on the platform, where it is just all about sales, and it doesn't feel like you're really trying to make an effort to improve your customer's life in any way. So to be authentic means you've got to be honest, but again, treat them like your friend. Talk to them like they're a human. Don't treat them like they're stupid and tell them to tag a friend. They'll figure it out for themselves. Yeah. Be authentic.
Yeah, exactly. Communicate honestly, and basically things like I think we'll touch on in the watch of the week, where it's not just always linking a problem straight away to the solution that you provide, so putting in a sales link or directing them to buy your book or similar, but just give them credit. So don't treat them as stupid, because if they want to get the answers, they're reading your posts, they'll go, okay, I know I do this all the time, click on the page, click to the website, and then go from there. So it's it comes back to that organic action taking and authentically communicating.
You're so right. I love that. The next thing that they said was user controlled. So again, we talked to earlier about the see first function. There are so many ways that users can control what they see on their feed now. I know mine is super curated. I pretty much have unfollowed friends, family pages that I have no interest in seeing in my feed, so that when I actually go to my feed, this is an attempt to reduce the amount of time I was spending just stupidly surfing Facebook. Now I go to my feed and it's informative, there's one of the words, entertaining, there's another, and it's completely curated by me. I mean, even last year I went as far as to de-Trump.
Where's the third?
Oh, it's authentic, sure. But last year I de-Trumped my feed because I was sick of seeing all the updates of, whatever he was doing. It wasn't serving me. So that's a beautiful feature of it, and something that we need to be mindful of is that users are curating their experience on Facebook.
Exactly.
And then the last one is that Facebook is committed to consistently updating their newsfeed, which is only made more relevant by the update that happened in January. So we're going to talk in this next section that we're about to dive into why that's a good thing. But I just want to start off by saying that Facebook are dedicated to their users. So if you can play game with Facebook, Facebook will play game with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Which very nicely leads us on to why are these changes great for Facebook, for small businesses using Facebook pages? Because if we're being totally honest, I feel like there's been this just mass hysteria that's gone on since the beginning of the year, where everyone's like, oh my God, Facebook's dead, or can't use it anymore, my business is never going to make it work. And I just feel like that's a victim's way out of this situation.
Yeah, totally. And to be honest, the fact that a lot of people, that the vocal minority for sure, are treating it like that means they're gone, there's more space for us. And at the end of the day, what we'll touch on now is that it's forcing us as businesses to communicate better and to be better on this platform.
Which does shock me that people are so resistant and so upset that they're being forced to talk to people in a way that the people actually want. Like, we need to move away from this idea that the way the business wants to talk to their consumer is the way that it should be. You need to flip that arrow. Like, it has to be, you need to talk the language the consumer wants to hear.
Yeah.
And this Facebook newsfeed algorithm change forces us to do that more than ever. Like, engagement numbers, and when we talk about engagement, we're talking about reactions, comments, and shares. That, those numbers more than ever before are so important. And I'd go as far as to say that reactions, yeah, sure, you want them, but really we're looking for comments and shares.
Yeah, exactly. And then that helps you define better and better what your audience is doing, what they're wanting, what they're going to engage with, take action with, get inspired. And it comes back to like this, one of the central premises of sales and selling to your clients and customers is that know their needs and treat their needs rather than either the list of the benefits from your side. It's always got to be focused on what their needs are and what you can provide for them.
Yeah, be a customer-driven business.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I feel like one point we hadn't written in our notes here, but it actually drives you to be a better business in general.
Yeah.
Like this Facebook strategy, if you apply it not just to Facebook, but to all of your marketing and even further into the way that you run your business, can actually really improve things if you're not already doing it. So look at it as a positive. The next thing was that, as Rory touched on briefly before, very few businesses know how to manipulate the algorithm at the moment.
Particularly on Facebook, again, being a free platform, and people, like, at the end of the day, it's still a relatively new platform, marketing platform. So people are still trying to figure out not all of them, but I think a lot of people, business are trying to figure out how to utilize this platform to, again, at the end of the day, return on investment.
It doesn't have that decades long base of knowledge that, say, something like newspaper advertising or traditional advertising does. You're right. And so, and that's even just talking about advertising. And I know one of the big complaints that happened after the algorithm change from businesses was they're just forcing us to pay to play. That you have to be doing paid advertising in order for this to be a relevant marketing avenue for you. And I just don't believe that that's the case.
No.
While there are very few, if I'm really honest, I'm really struggling to find pages to watch at the moment that have engagement, because with the changes, people don't know what to do. Hence why this show exists.
Yeah, distilling down all the techniques that everyone are chucking on the wall and seeing what sticks.
Exactly. But because so few businesses are doing it well, this is the opportunity, this is the time to learn it, get to know the strategies, learn to play with Facebook so Facebook will play with you, and stand out from the crowd. Like, the crowd is so small right now. That's the thing. You really have the opportunity, if you know how to manipulate the algorithm, to play Facebook's game and to actually communicate with your customers.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, the other thing is, despite what a lot of businesses were kind of saying in that Facebook is, kind of like hanging businesses out to dry in that they're not supporting them anymore, nothing could be further from the truth. And this was made really evident in an update that was released at the end of January from Facebook that said that they are going to be investing in 1 million people and small businesses in Europe between now and 2020 to help them better utilize their platform. And again, this isn't just ads. This is actually about them being creators. Creators is the new word that they're kind of using for people who are managing Facebook pages. They want businesses to stay. Like, if businesses leave Facebook and they stop paying for ads, that's one of Facebook's primary revenue sources, right?
Yeah.
They can't afford to frustrate businesses. And while this algorithm change has, and we're going to talk a little bit about why the algorithm change even kind of happened shortly, but they want to keep them happy. They want to keep them there. They want to keep that marketing channel open to them because, as you would have seen in last week's episode, it's still the primary social media channel and one of the top advertising opportunities for business, one of the cheapest.
Yeah, particularly for small businesses as well.
Absolutely. And so, why did these changes happen?
So I think it largely connected back to the US election in 2016 and the ongoing investigation into links to Russia and how pages and how aspects of Facebook were utilized to help sway voters at the end of the day, and whether that's ethical, moral, where does that sit in Facebook's world?
And the biggest thing that a lot of people probably would have heard about at the moment is that Cambridge Analytica, which is an analytics firm based in the UK, who was very closely tied to the Trump campaign, was mining Facebook user data to the number of about 50 million users. So it was a pretty significant breach of privacy, and one that Facebook has already knuckled down on. This is the thing, a lot of people are getting upset about it, and I know it's really bad, and I'm not trying to downplay the breach that was, the Cambridge Analytica scandal that's, but it's already happened. This is the thing. Yeah. This has been a 2-year-long saga. This algorithm change that we're talking about right now, while it was released or announced in January, it actually was put into effect 6 months before that. So this has been going on for months now, 9 or 10 months at the time of recording this podcast. So these changes are not instant, or it's not just happened. This has already happened, just like the Cambridge Analytica scandal has already happened almost 2 years ago. It's just that it's becoming public now. Yeah, so exactly. While there's this exodus of people leaving, which, and you're totally welcome to, if it doesn't match your ethics and you really feel a violation, you do you. But the truth is now, this is all being resolved by Facebook. Facebook's cracking down to the point of just this week, or I think last week, there was an announcement that Facebook Messenger bots are being put on hold for any new users across certain companies. Like, there are things happening now to tighten up the security and make sure these things don't happen. The algorithm change was just one of those changes.
Yeah.
And it really shouldn't be something that deters you from leaving Facebook.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Facebook has such a hold, especially in the Western world these days. I don't think it's going anywhere. This is going to be a temporary blip on their radar, and yeah, they're going to continue on. So it's definitely a great opportunity to start and keep up with the platform.
Absolutely, and as you mentioned earlier, Rory, lots of businesses are exiting Facebook, which again, they have to do them, and if they want to do that, fine. But it actually lightens the playing field. Lightens, I'm not good at sports metaphors, but there's less competition happening for the newsfeed by people leaving. So see it as a good thing, get good at it for your own business, and you'll be able to stand out from the crowd. And so now we're going to talk about how can you make it real for your business. We've made a whole heap of suggestions already in this episode that you could be going and implementing in your business, but we have 3 steps that you could get started on for, I think, what the primary message in this episode was, which is that you have to know your customers. You have to get to know them. You have to know what content and information they want to see in their newsfeed that encourages them to be a raving fan of yours. So, Ross, how do we do that?
So, step 1, get inspired.
Inspired. It's so important to get inspired because let's be honest, I'm not saying to anyone that you need to go and know who your audience are right now. That takes time. It takes time, it takes research, it takes analysis. All probably sound like scary words. It's not as hard as you think. But the first place I suggest people go is to go and inspect what their competitors are doing. Because if your competitors likely have the same or a very close resemblance to the audience that you're trying to create for your business. But it's not just as simple as going and just taking whatever they're doing as gospel.
Exactly. So you need to apply with the same fine-tooth comb that whether those post types are actually getting engagement, whether they're getting shares, whether they're getting comments, reactions. You can take that into advisement, but at the end of the day, it's shares and comments that you'll really want to focus on.
Absolutely. Look at what type or how frequently they might be posting on their page.
Time of day,
how many likes they have. If you're going and looking at a competitor that you maybe is your primary competitor, but they're just not doing Facebook well and they have a really low number of likes, probably not worth really.
What would you say is a low number of likes?
Well, actually, this is something I had wanted to bring up in the episode, was that likes are such a vanity metric. It's not about getting a page up to 1 million people or 100,000 people or even 1,000 people. If you have a small number of highly engaged raving fan type followers, your community, that's a community. That's the thing. I see pages who have millions of followers, but it's not a community, and Facebook's going to stop showing them in the newsfeed. So it's not that there isn't even a base number, I would suggest. You're going to have to judge that for yourself based on your industry. And you might find that if someone has a really low number of likes, but they're getting heaps of engagement, actually they are a good competitor to watch. Maybe they're just earlier in their Facebook journey than you are or than other competitors are.
Yeah, awesome.
So the second thing you need to do is you need to go and review your own page, because there might be nuggets of gold in your history that you are neglecting to notice. Because let's be honest, not a lot of us, unless you are a social media manager or you've really known about your social media strategy in the past, actually evaluate how your posts are working on Facebook. So you might actually go back and do a review of the posts you've done, and it could be in the last however many years. It doesn't need to have been right now.
Yeah.
Obviously take into account how many followers you have on your page when you're doing your calculations, but you could find that there are certain post types that, my followers tend to really like text posts, or they really like image posts, and you might actually have some data of your own that you can start looking into.
Yeah, and I think particularly recently with the change in how people use Facebook, I think the results may surprise you, especially I know myself, text posts are a lot more engaging or a lot more eye-catching, I suppose, for me personally, going through my own feed compared to, say, especially images. I think stationary images are, again, based it on your industry, but I think they're on the decline compared to just what it was originally for, a quick message or especially videos as well.
Absolutely. The third step is to fill out our ideal customer avatar worksheet, which you can go and download by heading to www.bigpresenceshow.com/ICA. And in that document, you'll be able to get really, really clear on exactly who your ideal customer is. And what I want you to do is work through that. That's just got a whole heap of information in there about how old is your ideal customer? Are they male or female? What kind of work do they do? What salary do they earn? And I want to preface this again by saying you don't need to know in great detail all of the answers to those questions yet. This is a working document. I've made it completely editable for you. I want you to go in and be adding and changing and refining that document over time as you get clearer and clearer on who your ideal customer is.
And how do you get clearer and clearer? Just to break it down again.
It's that magical E word again. It's evaluating. You need to be going back, and if you're noticing trends of people, the types of people, maybe you've got more women coming to you than you thought, and maybe you thought you were more of a male-based audience. Like, just be looking at those things. Maybe you've got a lot of mums who are coming to your page, or you'll see in the document. There's so many different categories that you can kind of be detailing. What I do suggest, even if you're not completely sure, fill out that document with the kind of ideal client you'd like to have in your business.
Attract, yeah.
Because the other thing is, if you haven't been running a really strong strategy on your Facebook page or in your marketing in general to this point, you might have actually attracted the wrong kind of people. And you may find that you have to kind of clean house a little bit and start to get clear on your ideal customer so that then you start attracting them in. So be aware that could be the case too. So with that document, fill it in as much fine detail as possible so that you can be attracting the right people to your business. Now it's time for Watch of the Week, the segment where I feature a Facebook page or post that's got the audience engagement down, is building a community of raving fans, and teaching the Facebook algorithm to stop and take notice. Even if these pages exist outside your niche or industry, there are often heaps of transferable ideas and tips to take away from these businesses who do Facebook presence so well. This week's Watch of the Week is Harriet Lerner, and she is a psychologist and New York Times best-selling author who has written 13 books, most notable of which is The Dance of Anger. Harriet's roughly 7,500 strong Facebook page is very engaged, and she truly has a community of raving fans, a real testament to how she has built it over the years. Harriet's posts are made up of text, link, and image posts with a very specific purpose for each. Her text posts come in two main forms: mini blog style posts and short form posts. Her blog style posts are like mini deep dives into concepts she's written about in her various books. They examine a topic and suggest an action to either improve or remove such thinking or behaviours in the readers' lives. Her short form text posts are similar, offering a single sentence tip to again change the reader's thinking or behaviour. Sometimes, rather cleverly, she frames these in the negative or opposite form of the argument, creating potentially a bit of humour, softening the blow of the message. All of her text posts have the potential to be rather controversial, given that the content can challenge social norms on your own way or your own way of existing to that point. Creating controversy in the messaging of your Facebook page, if done right, can actually be a fantastic tool for generating engagement. This is certainly the case for Harriet, who clearly makes her opinions known without judgment. Her link posts are really just mini blog post text posts that she attaches a link to in order to promote one of her books, most often. The beautiful thing about the way she does link promotion is that at no point in the actual text of the post does she actually say anything like, "For more, buy my book," or anything like that. She leaves it to the audience to investigate further, and self-opt-in if they're looking for more on that particular topic. Remember, as we mentioned earlier, your audience aren't stupid, so don't treat them like that. As for her image posts, they are far more seldom and used only to show what Harriet is up to. She shares pictures from conferences and events she's attending, still sure to provide a helpful tip, hint, or insight in the text of the post. This is great for maintaining her currency and social proof. Her audience know that she is still actively out and about spreading her message and at events that maintain her PhD credibility. Finally, I was particularly interested to note that Harriet does next to no engagement looping on her posts. As in, she doesn't respond to nearly any comments. And while I would normally suggest that a page owner does this to further boost engagement, in Harriet's case, I actually believe that this is exactly the right decision for her business and in her business's best interest. Due to the controversial nature of her posts, I believe that weighing in on the opinions of her followers would very quickly turn people offside and have them disconnecting from her message. As I said before, her posts themselves never read with any level of judgment on the reader, but to respond to their opinions in the comments could inadvertently create judgment and make it hard to maintain an even playing field across all the different types of opinions. It appears too that the community that she has built handles the majority of this for her, and it really is better left to them. This also means that she can observe and record the opinions of her followers to help in furthering her research without leading any of the answers. I believe this is one of the rare instances I would suggest not engagement looping, but it only really works for Harriet given how clearly she has attracted her ideal raving fans. Harriet is a great page to watch if you are an author or perhaps if you have an overall message that can be rather controversial. And I must say many thanks to Small Business Big Presence listener Ellen Ronalds for introducing us to Harriet.
If you follow or manage a page that's getting wicked engagement, we want to know about it. Be sure to share a link on tomorrow's Page Watch Wednesday post over on the Small Business Digital Academy Facebook page. Your page or page suggestion could be featured on an upcoming Watch of the Week segment, so stay tuned.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of the Small Business Big Presence show. Be sure to join us next week when we examine the Facebook page growth strategy that's sure to explode your small business Facebook page.
Until then, keep creating big impacts in your small business with your big presence.
Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Remember, 62% of consumers use Facebook to help inform their buying decisions. Don't let your Facebook page stop one of your customers from investing in your small business. Get the lowdown on the 4-step system we teach our students to help transform their pages and turn presence into profit. Head to bigpresenceshow.com/free to claim your spot on our next training. And to be the first notified when we drop a new episode, be sure to subscribe to the show. Head on over to bigpresenceshow.com/subscribe to get started.